We are joined by Emily Douglas. She is the events coordinator at the Elks at Bass Rocks over on Atlantic Road in Gloucester. How you doing, Em?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. I've been wanting to talk to you for a couple of months now, really, because it seemed like we work closely on a lot of events together, but just the impact that COVID-19 had on your industry as a whole. I mean, things must have gone really upside down for you.
Yeah. What looked as obviously, as you know, as a promising season just took a turn for the worse, and it's been tough. It's been difficult to navigate. And I feel like at this point, there's really no end in sight, at least for a while. So it's just been hard to try and navigate through everything and, not only work with the couples, but all of the different vendors that go into that one day of somebody's wedding. So it's been difficult, but we're making do and trying our best. So
Yeah, well, how have the couples been responding so far? I mean, everybody's living with this, but I mean, it's a very, if we're talking weddings specifically, you have this very special date planned out months or years in advance, and then all of a sudden you can't do it.
right. I've been very lucky. Most of the couples that I work with have been very accepting of everything. I mean, at this point, I feel like you kind of have to accept what's going on because everybody is hurting. Every industry, everybody's kind of going through the same thing right now.
So tell me what the rescheduling process is actually like. Is it literally just taking what you had booked for 2020 and just moving it into 2021?
Yeah, so what I'm running into now is that a lot of our weddings that we had through like April, well, the end of March, April, and even into May moved to the fall. So any October dates that we had open, even I had some brides in April switch to August. So that was their plan B. But now I have these people that may need to come up with plan C at this point. So even that's been difficult too. So moving twice in 2020 and then maybe needing to postpone again to 2021. So it's been difficult, but.
And I was even going to ask, what's it like? Have you had to do things where you've had to move, say, a weekend date to a weekday?
I haven't run into that yet. No.
Oh,
nope. Luckily.
So I guess how are you getting by this year? I mean, I know most of your time is spent dealing with all this and trying to reschedule, and but I mean that's kind of sort of what the Elks is known for, is this great function place. And I know you've done there's been renovations inside in the meantime, right? Is it refreshing things like that?
Yeah, so they've given it a little bit of a facelift. They did throughout the whole building. They repainted. They put in extra sanitary stations and things like that, just so that the building itself can start complying with all of the regulations that will take place once the building can reopen and things like that. So we've definitely been busy just getting ready for the reopening, which has been good, and it's given people work, which again, obviously we've been closed since March. So it's been good that some of the people have been able to keep busy and do things to make the building ready for when we can reopen.
Do you have any idea when that date may be?
So according to the state's website, I think the upstairs is going to plan on opening in phase 3, which is June 29th, or set for June 29th. Weddings can supposedly start again June 29th, but the website is a little confusing because it does state weddings, but it also states that they have to be outdoors or in an open area of some sort. They specify reservation lands and things like that. So I'm just not sure what that means for indoor venues like us and, other venues in Gloucester. So, without all of those answers, it's hard to kind of give people a straight answer right now on when we can actually start events again. But regardless, I think that there's going to be many restrictions, whether it's wearing a mask or no dance floor, or, I've heard things as far as, no more buffet tables or past hors d'oeuvres and things like that. So it goes beyond just the venue itself. And we get into all of the catering restrictions and things like that. So, which is a huge, obviously, part of not only a wedding, but an event as well.
Yeah. Well, at least you're lucky enough that we can do the ceremonies that usually take place outside.
Outdoors, right.
A giant parking lot, which might be like one of the most popular spots.
I
People
know
just
right
go loiter
now.
throughout this whole thing. Every time I drive or walk by,
Oh my
there's
gosh,
something
it's
going
so
on.
funny.
Yeah.
It's so we actually did on Sunday. So yesterday, we were supposed to have a bridal shower for a local family. Excuse me, baby shower for a local family, and they ended up asking if they could just use our parking lot as like a drive-through shower. So I don't know if you drove by yesterday and saw commotion or anything like that, but we had a drive-through shower yesterday in our parking lot.
Funny. People keep asking me if we can do left, right, center in the parking lot. I said, well, how are people
Outside.
going to get there? I have to set up shuttle service. So,
Yeah, right.
do you have anything, Heather?
Well, besides the events, there you have the upstairs dining, and I realize, Emily, that you're not in charge of that. But is there any possibility of outdoor dining? Do you have any spaces for smaller, tables in that?
So they've been talking, I mean, I don't know for sure, but we've had conference calls every week throughout this whole thing. So they have discussed putting some sort of tent outside in our parking lot, like Corey and I were just talking about, specifically for the members lounge, just kind of converting it to the parking lot for the time being. But down to in phase 3, when we can reopen, indoor dining may be allowed at that point. So there's so many different factors that they're just trying to figure out right now.
Right. And how are the Elks feeling? I mean, are they, this is such an economic blow to so many operations. So do you have any sense of how they're feeling as an organization?
Yeah, I think that, just as I've said, it's been difficult for, the wedding aspect of the building and the events department. It's just been equally as tough for them as well, just trying to figure out from the food part to the bar, just figuring out all of the regulations that we're going to have to comply with and figuring out how we can make it work, because eventually we're going to have to make it work. So it's just figuring out and just, making do with what we can for now. So.
And it's a little precarious because I'm an Elks member, but a lot of the Elks members are part of the older demographic, which can be troublesome moving forward. So I'm sure the Elks will be extra cautious about how they.
Yeah, and like I said, they've started, and one of the first things that they did when we had to close down, Steve Curley, he installed all of the extra sanitary stations and hand sanitizers and things like that. So that was the first step that we did when we closed. So we are ready on that end of it. But I think too, they're trying to figure out, are people ready to come out? Is the first day of opening, is it going to be crazy, or are people still going to be timid to come out? So it's just figuring out all of those different things.
Right. Well, and just getting back to the events for a second too, is obviously you're still booking events and rescheduling, and I know you've been offering virtual tours of the space too. So if people want to watch that or learn more about the Elks, how can they do that, Em?
So I posted a virtual tour to our Instagram highlights. It's saved there if you're familiar with Instagram. If anybody wants to make an appointment with me through Zoom or whatever it may be, we can chat, virtually that way. I can show you the space that way. So basically whatever the client wants to do, I'm offering to do.
Gotcha.
So.
And contact for you, Emily? What would a contact be?
So my email address is info@atlanticoceanroom.com. And then my office number is 978-282-3200.
Yeah, and we should note that the function room downstairs of the Elks is called the Atlantic Ocean Room.
Right.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, we appreciate your time and appreciate the work that you're doing. We know that.
Yes.
Someone
Thank
like you.
you.
So I'd love to follow up with you soon and just see how things are progressing there. So thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you.